It's the fall of 2022, and 17-year-old Canadian super prospect Connor Bedard is lighting the WHL on fire with the Regina Pats. He's going to be the undisputed number 1 pick in a 2023 entry draft that is loaded with talent, and he's gearing up to go represent his country for the second straight season at the World Juniors Championship. And while Team Canada won the gold medal last time around when the tournament was originally postponed and then revisited in August, in 2023 there was more pressure than ever on Team Canada and Connor Bedard to deliver yet again, on home soil in Moncton and Halifax, where all of Canada would be watching. Heading into the tournament, much of the hockey world was watching to see just how good Bedard really was, especially under this huge spotlight, but many were also watching to see some of the other top prospects for the upcoming 2023 draft, like Sweden's Leo Carlsson, who was projected to go top 3, and Bedard's own Canadian teammate Adam Fantilli, who many thought would be drafted the next pick after Bedard in late June. While Canada was the favorite heading into the tourney, with their usual elite talent and plethora of first-round picks, this would prove to be a tournament that really could have been won by 6 countries: Canada, the United States, Sweden, Finland, Slovakia, and of course the Czechs. In Canada's first game of the preliminary round, they got a taste of just how tough this tournament could be, and although Bedard would score his first goal and Canada would outshoot the Czechs 38-27, they would lose 5-2 thanks to a great performance in net from goaltender Tomas Johanek, who made 36 saves. A few days later, Team Canada would face off against the Germans, and this is when Bedard would start his takeover of the tournament. Albeit against a much weaker opponent, Bedard would score a hat-trick and add 4 assists in a dominant 11-2 win over Team Germany, and Team Canada proved that they were done messing around. Similarly to their game against the Germans, Team Canada would dominate Austria in their next matchup, winning 11-0, and Bedard picked up another 6 points, including 2 goals. Canada's final game of the round robin was against Team Sweden, and although Connor Bedard wouldn't score any in this game, he picked up 4 assists and was a huge part of the team's 5-1 win, where they would outshoot the Swedes 44-23. On January 2nd of the new year, Canada would face off against Slovakia in the quarterfinals in a win-or-go-home matchup. Bedard would open the scoring for Canada on a beautiful shot in the first period, and in the second, Dylan Guenther put the Canadians up 2-0 on a power play goal. Although Zach Ostapchuk would score for Canada to make it 3-1, the Slovaks battled back, eventually tying in the third and sending the game to overtime. It's also important to note that the main player keeping Slovakia in this game was their netminder Adam Gagin, who would eventually make over 50 saves in the game. And I also believe that his performance in this game almost certainly led to him getting drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks in the second round, 35th overall, in June of 2023. Although all of Canada was holding their breath in this epic overtime, Bedard and his teammates continued firing pucks at Gagin, and eventually on his 10th shot of the game, Bedard did this.
Slides in again. Bedard walks right in the
This was as clutch a goal as he possibly could have scored, and probably well deserved after the Canadians fired 57 shots at the goaltender Gagin. After this nail-biter and epic overtime win, Canada would take on their rivals Team USA in the semifinal. The Americans got off to an early 2-0 lead in this one thanks to goals from Logan Cooley and Kenny Connors, but shortly after the Americans' second goal, it was Connor Bedard that cut the lead in half and started the scoring for Canada. Although the US had a few goals disallowed, Canada would score 5 more unanswered goals and would have a chance to win back-to-back gold medals. The last team for Canada to beat would be the only team to give them a loss so far in this tournament, the team they played in their first game of the round robin, Team Czechia. The Czechs were led by David Juracek, their top defenseman who was the 6th overall draft pick in 2022, also Yuri Kulik, who was a Buffalo first-round pick in the same draft, Edward Shala, who would end up getting drafted 20th overall in the 2023 draft, and of course their goaltender, Tomas Johanek, who was lights out for the Czechs all tournament long. Although both teams had chances early on, the Canadians would open the scoring in this one with a power play blast from Dylan Guenther, who was another standout player in this tournament. And then in the second period, Canadian captain Shane Wright would score off a beautiful backhander, giving his team the 2-goal lead. The Czechs would rally back in the third, scoring 2 quick goals by Yuri Kulik and Jakub Kos. And finally, after 60 hard-fought minutes, the gold medal would have to be decided in overtime. Relatively early in this overtime, Team Canada will get an odd man break Joshua Waugh fed Dylan Gunther for the golden goal. The home Canadian crowd absolutely loved it, and this was the perfect finish to an unbelievable tournament to watch, especially for the Canadians. And although Connor Bedard didn't find his way on the score sheet in this one, he certainly made an impact, generated some nice chances, and it was time for his teammates to pick him up as he'd done for them the entire tournament. In the 7 games, Bedard put up 23 points, including 9 goals, which was the Canadian record in a single tournament. And although he didn't quite match Peter Forsberg's record of 31 points from 1993, at just 17 years old, Bedard passed Jaromir Jagr for the most points in the tournament by a player aged 18 or younger. After this, if there were any doubts about what kind of a hockey player Connor Bedard could turn out to be, there weren't any more. And with the entire hockey world watching this kid, he put on a show that people are going to remember for a long time, and really one of the best performances of any player in World Juniors history.